Okay. Right. Well, email from Ubisoft has, been revealed basically, and it really does show that they're boy howdy, they're really not in a good state. They are firing people and closing studios left, right, and center. Uh, and yeah, it's not a surprise. It's not a surprise. I mean, they went with Star Wars Outlaws, a fundamentally broken game. Last year released that with the biggest marketing budget they've ever given a game. Um, that was a complete failure. No one can be bothered to play that. It's released on Steam. It's basically dead on Steam now as well. And it's all public. People can see it. And as a result of that, stocks completely tanked. This has been tanking for ages. So if we go to 1 day, you can see here down 2.7%, 5 days, 0.44, 1 month, 13.18, 6 months, 40.74. I mean, it just gets worse. Year to date, 12.91. In 1 year, it's down 44.91. I mean, this is terrible. I mean, look, 5 years, it just gets worse. If we go to max, then yeah, it looks good because they were on top of their game. That's when they had a market cap of over 12 point whatever it was $billion, and now they got a market cap of just over $1 billion. So this company is, well, for lack of a better word, it's fucked, basically. Excuse the language, but it is. There's no other way to say it. Like max, it was here. It was at 70. What was it at? 98 euros it was at. And now it's at 11. Wow.
Good. What percentage was that drop, Marvin? Because I know you wrote that in one of the stories.
Something like 80 to 85% drop in valuation from January of last year to this year.
Oh
yeah. Basically, this isn't unique to Ubisoft. There's lots of companies that are facing these kind of problems, and because obviously it's really important to note is that video games take years to develop. But this is why video game developers and movies as well should stop with all the agenda nonsense or sort of trying to wade into the sort of culture and politicization that the sort of crossover there, right? They've got to try and stop that because they take so long to develop, and it would be a different story if the budgets were lower, but they're not. The budgets are insanely high. They take years to develop, and by the point that they come out, the pendulum swung back and people have had enough. Video games, these people have made these games thinking, yeah, these are going to be great. It's going to sell like hotcakes, mate. By the time these games are coming out, people are like, no, we're not buying this. And so that's why this and other games companies are just absolutely up shit's creek. So what is the here is the email. It's pretty bad. So it says, "Dear team, as you all know, the past year has been marked by significant challenges for Ubisoft and our industry. Challenges that have necessitated changes in the form of targeted restructurings across our global organization and production studios. Together, we've navigated these uncertain times with resilience and an unwavering commitment to deliver exceptional games and drive innovation. However, to secure our long-term stability and future success, we must continue to make some very difficult decisions by firing what is effectively, in their eyes, the plebs. Because they don't fire anyone from the top that has made these choices, obviously, that has led to their, games tanking. Restructuring the Stockholm studio. This morning, we announced a restructuring of our Stockholm studio. This decision was not made lightly. However, it is a necessary step to refine the studio strategy and secure long-term stability. And they just meant they're going to fire people. The Stockholm team plays a vital role in our future, and for their vision to succeed, we must create the right environment for the projects to thrive. That right environment is less crowded. We estimate that approximately 20 roles, 20, in the Stockholm studio may be impacted. We know that this decision impacts more than just the studio, and its projects, it impacts people, our colleagues, teammates, and friends. They talk about some crap that they're going to do to help, but it's all like hand wave nonsense, really. Update from Zone 4 today. In addition to the restructuring announced in Stockholm, similar efforts have also been shared today within Zone 4. In Germany, Ubisoft Düsseldorf has announced that around 65 positions, 65, may be made redundant. Meanwhile, in the UK, we will see the closure of the Ubisoft Leamington site and around 100 roles proposed to be made redundant across Ubisoft Leamington and Ubisoft Reflection. So that's 185, isn't it?
185 people were laid off. Yeah.
Yeah. The situation with the Leamington one is also the UK stuff is also in part because of our Chancellor of the Exchequer, head of finance, basically, has decided that they're going to tax everyone to oblivion and try and tax everyone into a good economy, which never works, and she's an imbecile. But whatever, that's a story for another day. But just for context, there's additional stuff that's important to note. A global update on this will be available through an article on Agora, which will be published around noon tomorrow. As we move forward after today's news, I want to thank you all. Your resilience, creativity, and passion are what makes our zone extraordinary. As we work through this transition, let's continue to support one another and stay focused on the path ahead. Together, I'm confident we will emerge stronger, ready to deliver on the bold ambitions we have been building. Basically, soz mate, we screwed up, but you're being fired.
Mm-hmm. Whole series. And so I'll drop this here to you guys. We have a exclusive story in the works right now. My writer Francesco Salbach is working on it. This is just the beginning of what is about to happen to Ubisoft. Like we are anticipating a lot more going on. And when he told me what he was finding in his research, my jaw hit the floor because it was worse than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I can believe that. I can believe that.
Their trajectory seems bad, obviously because of this story and obviously the financials and everything else we've talked about here, recent layoffs, all that. But consider that in less than a month or 5 weeks, they've closed 3 studios.
And also, Culture, the company is completely upside down right now. I mean, it has debts over $2 billion.
Yeah.
And, the company's valuation is in the 1 billion range.
And so we've collectively, you and I and the Gameplays folks over there at that channel have been talking about the collapse and the fact that this is going to become IP yard sale.
I think that's what Tencent wants. I think Tencent's just waiting it out.
If you're Elon Musk, you can buy Pulse Studios at this point for couch money.
He has said that he wants to start his own studio.
Yeah. Well, the first thing he did, or one of the first things he did as a youth, was build a video game. He sold it to somebody, too, a few years later. Anyway. Sorry about that.
Yeah. No. Keep going, guys. I want to hear your thoughts. I rambled on enough about this kind of stuff.
I would just say it's not surprising. So I can't wait to read Frank's story because it's not like there's a lot out there about not just Ubisoft but EA, and a couple of the other major studios out there that look like they're done for. Like they got nothing on the horizon. Their net bookings, that's a funny term, are not even close to keeping them alive. And if Rockstar's game is woke AF in GTA 6 when it comes out in the fall, they're in huge trouble. I mean, they'll fold back into the main company at that point. Anyway, go ahead, Marvin.
The studio is banking right now on Assassin's Creed Shadows. Like everything rests on Assassin's Creed Shadows' shoulders, and that's not a good position to be in because that game is going to do so terribly. We just ran an exclusive. Frank found out through one of his sources close to Ubisoft that the delay moving it from February to March was actually to remove large portions of Yasuke's narrative from the game to put the focus more on Nao as like the main protagonist. So they're desperate now. They know that they messed up royally with this game by making Yasuke the main character, and they are desperately trying to switch that, to make that different. because they royally messed up. Like you said, it's concept to creation. When did they start this? Summer of Love. You know, they were like, "Hey, everyone's really into this right now, so let's make a character that looks like George Floyd and have him go on a rampage through Japan." And I was like, and 5 years later, the entire climate has changed, and nobody wants something like this. And that's why and I say this all the time, concept to creation with video games. If they decide right now, that's it, no more wokeness in video games, we're not going to see that reflected for another 5 years.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's such a misstep with this game from every angle as well, because this game is like I think it's the only Assassin's Creed game where you can play as a character hacking up NPCs and you don't get that warning on the screen that you did before in Assassin's Creed games. Like there is video clips.
They don't have that.
Yasuke. Huh? There's video clips of Yasuke like booting Japanese NPCs around. And hurting them. Warning's not coming up.
Interesting, because you would get if you did that in other Assassin's Creed games. Not only did the warning come up, you got your game ended. Like you got a game over from that.
Yeah, not this one.
It's also the first time ever they ever allowed you to play as a quote unquote historical character. You weren't playing as Thomas Jefferson in Assassin's Creed 3, jumping on rooftops and stuff.
If only.
I know, right? Historical characters are supposed to be the ones that give you. By the way, if there was a George Washington tomahawking redcoats game, I would buy it. But it's it's a very odd choice for them, and they're going to pay for it out the nose.
Well, they're going to pay for it with the continued stock decline. Is the sort of short of it, isn't it, really? You look like you want to say something there, Culture.
I cry no tears for this company. They decided to pursue a highly divisive agenda, not really understanding what their largest markets are, how they're going to react. This game was targeted at the United States and at Japan. And Japan is, while some of the companies have kind of bent the knee, they are regretting it already faster than we did here in the United States. But here in the US, this game is screwed.
My co-host Kevin Apollo always says in situations like this, pity not the arsonist who burns in their own flame. And that's exactly what this is.
Yeah, Kevin's based, so yeah.
Well, it's joking me a minute. You get what you deserve. Basically. You get what you deserve.
Absolutely.